been watching on my phone, but why don't I see anyone here on the stream yard? That's crazy to me. Anyway, let's keep going. Honor everyone. Honor to everyone that's watching. Honor to everyone that's joining the chat. See 10 people on the YouTube, but in the chat, but the stream yard is empty. Look at that. How is that possible? I don't know. Oh well. Uh, Corey Sly, honor to you. Watch my six. Honor to you. Star Strike, honor to you. Chuck Jackson, honor to you. Mama Red, honor to you. LeRon Jones, honor to you. I think I said, okay. Yeah, that's it. Honor to everyone that's in the chat. Honor to everyone that's watching. Say peace, love, light to you all. It's slow. Could you hear me now? This is crazy. Why is that? Hold on, y'all. Let me see. Are you hearing me now? That's 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 them. That was the trick. That was the same trick they were doing with the Google Hangout when I had Google Hangout and I tried to use my headset because this whole time I've been using my headset and I'm gonna plug out the headset. That's them. Let's see. Check, 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 check. All right. All right. So could you guys hear me now? If you guys can hear me, press 1. Okay. So they won't let me use my headset. And they try to blur the screen also. And then they muted me when I plugged out the headset. But look, you see my StreamYard? There's no one in the comment section of the StreamYard. The StreamYard, you're supposed to show in the comment section of the StreamYard before I even see you in the comment section of the YouTube. But look, as long as the live is going, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm not even going to complain. But I'm just it's just strange to me. It's weird. It's really weird. But anywho, um, that being said, yeah, it's the same trick that they were doing when I had like the when I was using Hangout, where they will disrupt my headset. So that's what they're doing now. That's when you see stuff like that happening to your headset or your mouse, that means that something is on your laptop where you got a bug. There's a bug somewhere, right? But I'll fix. I'll get all that fixed. I wanted to go live earlier, but we had a massive power outage, and so yeah, and I didn't really wanted to kick in the generator, so it was no need for the generator that early. And I got to put a whatchamacallit, a soundproof box around the generator. It's too loud. But yeah, so I also implore everyone to get a generator, and I implore everyone to look into how to make your own biodiesel for your generators, because these folks are planning to push for some rough times ahead to come. All right. But anywho, all right. So I'm going to go over a part of a document that I went over with on my D Live, and then we're going to continue back the the probate court law, the probate law that we was going over on D Live. We're going to continue that one back on D Live. But this is a document that I was going over with on my D Live. I went over part of it, so I'm going to go over the beginning of it so that folks can understand more so what has happened to our people, right? So before we start, let me state my disclaimer. All rights and liberties reserved. I am Darkman X TV. I am an Ahuak American, what you call an Arawak Indian, from the American island of Zamaka, what you call on corporate paper, Jamaica. I am a sovereign state of being. With that being said, I say peace, love, light to you all. This platform is for American original Americans, no matter where you are, all over the world. It is for original Americans to for educational purposes, for original Americans, and for original Americans to communicate back and forth with each other and exchange information of history, political views, however they see and feel fit. With that being said, I say peace, love, light to you all. We're going to go over, let me show y'all something. These are what they're called in treaties, and these are not treaties, okay? Anytime we look into these things here, hold on, yeah, because I was reading it earlier, so I'll just scroll back. Okay, so it's 8 pages. It's called the Nebraska Indian Treaties and the Rights of Citizens. All right, from the Missouri Democrat. Okay, them Democrats been doing it to y'all for over 200 years, and y'all still don't learn. Well, two wings on the same bird anyway. But still,
This one right here in the beginning of this one is we're just gonna go over the beginning of it, like the first page or the first two pages, because it's a doozy. It's a doozy. And again, like the documentations, like I said, the documentations that you guys we are looking for, like they're in your libraries. You just have to know where to look, because every time I pull up, I find one of these documents. Look, it says Newberry Library. I don't know if that's Newberry, upstate New York, or what is this? So yeah, the Newberry Library, and this is Everett D. Graff collection of Western Americana. Okay, so they're in your libraries. Like all of this is in your public library, in your neighborhood library, in the library of the colleges, especially the colleges. They have these stuff. Like if you're a college student and you're going to like UCLA, Yale, Harvard, Boston University, like they have these stuff right there in the library in your face. You just have to know where to look. And they have a basement section with all of these collectives that you could go down there and see. Okay, they try not to let everyone, certain folks, go down there. But if you keep questioning it, pushing it, and investigating, eventually you're going to find out that they do have it, and you can have access to it. All right, but they have it. These are the books and these are the documents that over time they start hiding from you. You know, certain things like that. All right, and these are the evidence. These are your evidence that you need to collect and store for those who are talking about they're seeking reparations. All right. And that's another thing that I want to address, but we're going to address that after we go over this document here, you know. But yeah. So, all right. So this is the Nebraska Indian treaties. Let me just say honor to everyone that's here. P. Parker, Macadon 1, Delta Cell, T. Portier, Salida American Indian, Sean Allen, River Eagle, Yagua Z-Tech, Anthony Gibson, Mikhail Bryant, Watchman 6, Emperor E, and I think I said everyone else already before. So honor. And LaRon Jones. All right. So this is all right. Like this right here, it tells you straight to your face. Straight to your face. Right? So like I said, I this was something that I went over on the D Live. Went over with on the D Live. Right? But something just told me to go over here with you guys until everyone really switches over to the D Live. All right, so the Nebraska Indian treaties, the rights of citizens and the rights of citizens. Now, the citizens that they're speaking of are the colonizers, the foreign entity. That's who they're speaking of when they're saying and the rights of citizens. Now, you're going to see how you were bullied out of your land, you were scammed out of your land, and when you have corrupt people that is put in positions to represent that you think are representing you, they are not representing you. Okay, that they're selling you out because the head of Indian Affairs during this time sold you out. Okay, and then another thing is when we go over the Benjamin Franklin 18 is it 1856? I think it's 1856 or 1756. I think it's 1856. Treaties, right? With the Indians. When you read through that book is over like 400 pages. It's about 400 pages in that book. When you read through that book, yeah, you're going to see that you had certain Indian chiefs, right? And again, I'm going to say it again. Some of these chiefs were the ones of mixed blood. They started striking deals, what they probably thought was a lucrative deal. They started striking deals with their colonizing counterparts, okay, with their colonizing halves. And those deals are part of the reason why the folks in North America, well, the folks in this territory of North America, okay, that they falsely call the USA. You're gonna this is when you read through that book, that book too I also shared on my D Live, but you're gonna see why, a part of why you're in the position that you're in today. But this treaty right here, this, well, it's not a treaty. They call these things treaties, but they're not. But this document right here, the first page alone really pretty much sums it up. All right. So here we go. It says the government and the Indians. The government and the Indians. Independence, Missouri, July 24, 1844. To the editor of the Missouri Democrat, Sir, as there is no subject in which the people of Missouri have a greater interest than the organization and settlement of Nebraska territory, so there is nothing which more concerns them than to see proper and expedient measures adopted to secure the desirable end. The prominent, indeed the solitary, obstacle to the immediate settlement of this whole territory is the extinguishment of Indian titles to many of the most valuable portions of it, and the removal of the Indians to some remote district out of harm's and the white man's way. So they took your land with, they didn't use violence, they used threat with weapons. They didn't use the weapons that, right? They're trying to say that they didn't use the weapons, but they used the fact that because they had the numbers, and this is 1844, so they had other supposed Indian tribes on their sides. Because when you go through, like I said, the Benjamin Franklin, the 1856 Indian treaties and Indian treaties book, you're going to see that there were about 10 nations, the Delaware tribes, the Delaware tribe, and 9 other nations from this northern territory of America, right? That sided with the colonizers. All right. So they were helping to put the pressure on the tribes that didn't want to side with them, the tribes that no matter what, they weren't giving up their lands. They wanted to fight till the last man. Okay? And these tribes, they knew the territory, they knew the people, they knew the layout. This is how you lost some portions of the war, because these tribes knew the area, so they knew the ins and out already. So these folks were able to sneak up on you within this territory here. This is how you see portions of the Lenape are the way they are. This is how you see New York City on a whole. It's been conquered. Okay, but to this very day, New York City is still majority Indians. The Indians just don't know that they're Indians. They started calling themselves African Americans, Pan Africans, descendants of Africans. Okay, I can't answer that question that itself. I don't know, right? But only thing I know is that when you start looking into the history of these chiefs that were trying to get into agreement or was in some sort of agreement with the colonizer, they were of mixed blood. So they sympathize also with they probably thought, because they're of mixed blood, they could bring both worlds together. And all they did was let in let in the what's the word to use? Let in the devil. or letting this beast that played calm and then just swooped over you and savaged everything. Okay, that's all I tell folks is when y'all start looking up some of these chiefs, start looking into their genealogy, and you'll see for yourself. Don't let me tell you. Just do the research yourself and start looking up the genealogy for yourselves. You're gonna see. Okay, and the ones that didn't want to, like I said, it was Indians helping the colonizers suppress other Indians. Okay, and another thing was because Indians in the Northern Territory was fighting amongst against each other, like what you see now. Like when you see these ADOS dudes come on my page talking about they're Black American Indians, and you're trying to tell them, yo, every time you put the black in there, you're taking yourself away from the land, but they're not trying to hear you. Then they come on the page with, well, even though Jamaica is in North America, we're only focused with the USA, not knowing that the US and the USA is a corporation. It's not even the land. So you don't even know what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? This same thing that you see happening here now with me and these folks from these communities, well, not even with me, with these folks from these communities, that's what was going on back then. It wasn't like, okay, let us unite all the tribes and come together as one. It was, well, this is our territory right here, so we're going to do with our territory what we want to do with it. This ain't your territory. Mind your business, right? It's like you look at Africa. This is why I respect what you see some of the Africans doing on a certain level. Look at the African Union. They went and they got 50 states united. Boom, boom, boom. It does. I could go dig down into that too and do the pros and the cons to that, but that's not. I don't care about that. That's on them. But it's still they united. They didn't say, well, we're just focused on the territory of right here. We ain't focused on that right there. We're just focused on the territory of right here. Even though you're also in Africa, it doesn't mean that you're an African. So we're just focused on this area right here of Africa, just us. When there's strength in numbers, when you unite. So these folks who are talking about they just focus here are about false unity. They're not about nothing. Okay, that's when they talk. Oh, let's just have a. We don't have no conversation to say. You done said it all. Okay, but like if y'all, even when y'all go on the other platform and you go like back in way down in my playlist, I have a couple videos where I show the Indians whom are Masons, not just the Caucasian ones, but the biracial ones and the ones who look like they're darker of you, right? Whom are standing in front of the Masonic Lodge. So when they made these agreements with the colonizers, they joined that Masonic organization during those times. And when they joined those Masonic organizations, they took an oath. And they don't plan on breaking it. So this is why we focus the information on those who are sleeping, okay, to wake them up so that you could be free, independent in mind. Because when you're independent in mind, then you gain and you learn how to be independent in spirit and body. Okay? Then you can do your research yourself. You gather the information and you go research yourself and come to your own conclusions. Don't let someone else's conclusion run your life or make you make up your mind on what decisions you want to make. Don't not because I interpret the information this way or I'm saying this is what it is here, don't mean you're supposed to exactly listen to me. Go do your own research and you will see for yourself. Okay? But you're going to see that throughout the history with the information, this is how these folks were able to get a leg up on you and get your lands, all of which is still illegal. Now, when you start going through these documents, you're going to start being able to connect dots. When you start connecting the dots, it's going to come up to the 1871 when they made the USA a corporation, right? It has always been a corporation. Even when you go back down to this is just my opinion. I'm not saying anyone should just take my word for it, but when I read through through these documents, they're like a double-edged sword. Okay? These documents are stating that they were for their people, and it was set up like a corporate entity in the older documents. And I think in 1871, they just said, you know what? Now we're just going to put it out there like this is a corporation, but they're not going to know no better. In 1871, they just put it out there and solidified it that this whole thing is a corporation, the whole thing about the US, because there is no USA on the old maps. It's only America. Okay? And the America has been around before these people even came over here. All right? So 1871, they just let you know, all right, boom, here it is in your face. We're a corporation. What? What you gonna do? By that time, you done already had structure systems set up in communities already to throw in the brainwashing when they slap Christianity on you. Started introducing Islam on you. Started taking you away from self. Right? So here it says to the editor of Missouri Democrat. See, told you that them Democrats, man. Sir, as there is no subject in which the people of Missouri have a greater interest than the organization and settlement of Nebraska territory, is nothing which more concerns them than to see proper and expedient measures adopted to secure that desirable end. The prominent, indeed, the solitary obstacle to the immediate settlement of this whole territory is the extinguishment of Indian titles to many of the most valuable portions of it, and the removal of the Indians to some remote district out of harm's and the white man's way. The policy then of the we of the border feel most concern for and present is that which the government shall adopt with a view of this object, and we feel interested in seeing such a course pursued, as well as will certainly secure a speedy and willing relinquishment of the Indian titles without doing violence to treaty obligations. But where are the treaties? Right? Because if they're not going to spill blood because of the treaty, and they're claiming that they're upholding the treaty right there. But where is it? No one has seen any of these treaties. And folks who claim that they've seen treaties, that's not the treaties that you're looking at. Because if you don't see the seals of the nations that have supposedly treated with each other, the marks and the autographs, that's not a treaty. Okay? I think they just what's going on? All right. Okay. Let's see, Sire. Let me make sure. If you guys can hear me, press one. Press one if you guys can hear me. Okay. All right. So let's get reading through these documents on T Portier. To me, the whole thing the whole thing is scripted. To me, the whole thing is scripted. Even like how they write their how the documents are written, they're all one sided. You don't see the opposing party uh, uh um um side to it. You just see it coming from one side, and everything is real colonial forces side from the foreigners side, right? And that's how I see these documents every time I go over these documents. I'm like, it's just coming from the colonial forces side. That's all it's doing. It's just coming from the colonizer side, right? From the foreigners. And they're going to let you know in the document that they are foreigners, right? Let me fix the because this is blurred. It's so blurred. Let me try to fix the setting real quick. Okay. Yeah. There we go. So here it goes. All right. So they're telling you that they want you off the land because the white folks want the land, right? They want you off the land because white people want the land. That's pretty much what they're saying. And it's not any land that they want. This is why I keep telling you, I look at these folks up in the Appalachian Mountains that got that up in West Virginia, up in the Appalachian Mountains. They're in West Virginia and they're making one of these guys alone is making over $40 million a year. Y'all hear me? Off of going into the Appalachian Mountains wildlife and rooting up ginseng and selling it back to the Chinese and the Koreans. 40 million a year this guy's making, right? And they're up there in those mountains shooting after each other for ginseng. Watch it on, I think it's, what was it on National Geographic? It's on one of these platforms. It's one of these TV, one of these cable channels. It used to come on. They're shooting after each other for ginseng. They're going in their neighbor's yard, stealing the ginseng that they're farming in the yard, right? Mind you, ginseng takes 3 years to grow. And if you root up ginseng from one spot, it won't grow back there. You'd have to plant the seeds like literally in the next spot next to it or so. Or if you're going to root up ginseng, you don't cut the whole thing. It's like, that's a way how you do it, right? It's a way how you do it. Honor American Indian Council, honor. It's a way how you do it. You see what I'm saying? But the ginseng, the lands that we were on that had value, monetary value, they took us off of it. They took us off of it. And they took it over for, like I said, the crystals. We had lands that when you was walking in the in down on the riverbeds, you saw crystals, stones, valuable rocks, valuable stones, just right there on the on the riverbank, just right there. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we got to start understanding to why these folks spend trillions of dollars every year to trick you out of your identity. Because in their documentations, they're telling you what they did. The folks who they're calling Native American here always been minority in numbers because their ancestry stretched back to the goddamn Middle East. That's a fact. When they do their DNA tests, it goes back to the Middle East. When they do their genealogy through the public records, it goes back to the Middle East. All right, so this is what this is saying here. So they violated, even if there was a treaty, they violated a treaty by using threats to get you up off the land. That is the same thing like what the officers, what the policyholders today do when they pull you over, knowing that they're not even supposed to be pulling you over. Everything that they're doing is illegal, so they use threat and coercion, right? They use the threat and coercion because they have the weapons. They know they have weapons on them. You don't, so you're gonna sign that ticket. You're gonna agree to whatever the person says because you don't want to go to jail. You don't want to miss work. You see what I'm saying? You can't afford to go to court. You see what I'm saying? So that's not something that's not a decision that you came up with a non-hostile environment. They put you in a hostile environment mindset to put fear in you for you to make your decision. Okay? So that is inadmissible. So these treaties, the reason why you can't see these treaties is because the history of how they got the lands with the treaties, right? Coercion, yes. With the treaties shows that they violated the treaties as soon as they were made, if there were any treaties. As soon as the treaties were made, they violated them, which makes it null and void. Now, people will say, but if we were majority, how did we lose the war? Because y'all was fighting against each other. All these people did was just waited you out. And you're going to see in here that they're going to say that, they have time, they'll wait. They waited you out. Then you have other chiefs that were selling you out. Then you had folks that was on the Bureau of Indian Affairs around this time that was selling you out. This is how we are where we are now today. And still there has not been a lesson learned. If I'm going for reparations or I'm going for recognition back as to whom I am, I'm going to want to work with nations of the same hemisphere, same history of South, North, Central, the islands of the Americas, and come together on one banner. I'm not going to sit here and talk about, I'm just for right here because you think you're going to get a check. It's mandatory. It's monetary reparations. You're not getting no check. The check is going to go into a fund, which is going to go into some form of establishment. No money is coming in your pockets. But they don't get that though. So here we go. Okay, so we're down here. The Commissioner of Indian Affairs, in his recent report made upon the heel of a flying visit to the tribes occupying the desired territory. Now, you see this word territory here? You know why I said the territory of part of what you're calling North America? Because this is how you're supposed to really describe the geographical area of which you live, right? This word also takes you out of the corporate structure. Okay? This word also takes you out of the corporate structure. All right? But that's something for another time. The Commissioner of Indian Affairs, in his recent report made upon the heel of a flying visit to the tribes occupying the desired territory, it must be confessed, encourages no very flattering prospect of a speedy removal of these Indians. These are Democrats wanting your asses up off the land of these Indians. For although he says that some of them are willing to sell because they're scared, yet the more and those occupying the very best lands refused. It was a great mistake of the commissioner to expect the Indians to make him a proposition to sell their lands. See, they wanted you to make the offer to sell your land, right? But our people were stubborn. We're not back then because we knew the value of the land. We're like, nah, you ain't selling nothing. And then back then, because we still acted as if we still knew that we were high, numero uno in the eye of the creator anyway. You see what I'm saying? We're not going to stoop down to the level of anyone. And this is why I say to you guys, look, man, stop going down to the level of the colonizer. Stop identifying what the colonizer wants you to identify as. Stop making up new shit to appease the colonizers, these foreign entities. Just stick to what it is that is true and factual. What it is that your great grandparents, your grandmother told you. Stick to that. Don't stray from that. When you stray from that, you're just messing yourself up. Period. All right. So here it says, it was a great mistake of the commissioner to expect the Indians to make him a proposition to sell their lands. You're a foreign entity. We wouldn't do it. All who are familiar with Indians know that they never make propositions, but always wait to receive them. And then we have a thing where we say you wait for eternity. Shit would never happen, right? And then consider whether they will accept them. From this and some other views taken by the commissioner, it has come to be thought that Mr. Manny Penny, although a sensible and businessman, I think this was the head of the Indian Affairs at the time, Manny Penny, and he's a businessman at the same time. This is where whoever put him in that position where they went wrong, because he now has a corporate vested interest. You see what I'm saying? So now his interest is not for the tribe, it's not for the nation, right? It's going to be for his business interests. A businessman, when they receive certain business offers, are going to take certain business deals. All right. All right. So it says it has come to be thought that Mr. Manny Penny, although a sensible and businessman, and probably as fit to preside on the Indian Bureau at Washington as any other that could be selected, is yet not altogether so well qualified. Hold down. So well qualified to judge of Indians themselves. Okay, I think he was the colonel instead of the not the chief, the Indian affairs head. At at home in the wigwam or around the council fire, as those who have spent their lives among these people, it is not any degradation from Colonel Manny Penny's official character to suppose that in judgment of Indian character, he may be inferior to others more familiar with that character, and that in consequence he may have fallen into errors in some conclusions based upon his observations among these Indians, and possibly in some theories he may have embraced as to treaties with them. It has come. I'm more and more I read this. I'm starting to understand more and more the different angles of what they consider to be treaties, to why they're saying there's thousands of treaties, right? But another time I'll break that down. When I get more into that, I'm gonna break it down. But I'm getting what they're meaning by that. The treaties with them. It has come. It has become a custom for each new administration to profess great zeal for the progress and civilization of the Indians, and to make itself for a season their special benefactor. And various and multiplied are the theories that have been invented and adopted to transform these hunters, to transform these hunters and warriors into farmers and artisans. Yet, in the face of all this philanthropy and living in daily sight and contact with the advancing white man, whom the government desires him to imitate, the Indian has retrograded and is retrograding in all the higher points of character, and in spite of government supplies and government advice. Give me a sec, y'all. It takes a little while before it scrolls down. There we go. Government advice. So they wanted our brothers and sisters to imitate Caucasian people, to act like Caucasian people, to move and be like Caucasian people. This was the some of the first steps in disassociating you from your culture. Okay? And this was some of the first steps, as well, not first. This was some of the other steps that the foreigners did to also force themselves upon our culture, upon our society, because they needed to corrupt it, cause confusion, cause chaos within our order, within our structure, could get us to lose sight of who we are and get us to lose contact of our culture, right? They, this is what you're seeing today. When someone put on my comment section that they're making break dancing a part of the Olympics, and everyone that's going to be participating in that segment, none of them are Negroid people. None of them are the people that invented breakdancing. None of them. That's going to be playing a role in the Olympics. Now, today, what's going on is these people celebrate you, but they celebrate you not in the present and not as in the future. They celebrate you as in the past and deceased, right? They celebrate you as if you were deceased. That means that they're not trying to see you here. They want all of you gone so that they could take the credit for what it is that you have created and put out there. While in the meantime, on the main stage, that their mainstream media is treating you like shit. And then they have their trolls and all these bigotry people that will come in and talk about, oh, we was kings and shit. We invented everything. Wheeze. You know what I mean? So again, this to show you that for those people who are talking about, oh, we don't see no harm, there's a lot of harm in it. When you see one set of people is building their society to continue on their bloodlines, to continue on having folks that look like them multiply even more at the cost of decreasing folks that look like you here in the Americas, to decrease more and more, or they're pushing themselves within your structure more and more, and they're doing everything they can to sabotage your way of living more and more. Everything to rig your way of living or to rig the system to work against you more and more, so that they could try to come in and also be your supposed camouflage savior. But at the same time, they're really working on different angles of how to eliminate your existence while taking credit for that of which that you have created, that will leave a forever brand on society. Okay? Country music, hip hop, R&B, soul, pop, rock, punk rock, bebop, classical music, art, the culture. These are us. And when you go into a lot of these galleries, you're not seeing us in these galleries. And then when you see us in these galleries, it's our names, but they put a Caucasian face to it. Mozart, Beethoven, Rembrandt, Caucasian faces to it. And these were Negroes. These are Negroid people. But yet still you'll have the average young person now today to about, well, so what's wrong with that? But they don't understand that you're being wiped out. That's what's wrong with it. There is no more you. You're being marked as the bully. You're being marked as the thug. You're being marked as the hoodlum, the criminal on mainstream society. Okay? In mainstream society, you're being marked at. The true pictures are underneath the catacombs of the Vatican. The true pictures are in the Federal Reserve vaults. Federal Reserve just didn't hold what you thought was gold. You see what I'm saying? But and we this is why we have to get our young people today to understand and to have pride, to have respect, to have self-love of who they are, of their true ancestry. All right? This is why we have to keep pushing the information so that they can get it and understand what's going on. You know what I mean? We're not telling them to go out there and hate, 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 but be wary, be careful. Know that ancestry comes first before anything else that people might be pushing your way. Okay? Being mimicked by homunculus. All right? By homunculus. That's what I say. All right, so let's get back down into this here. All right, I'm back. I'm back. You notice now that folks is now in the StreamYard chat. Yeah, it's look, all of this whole StreamYard, all these things are these government ran, you know what I mean, backed platforms. So that's them cutting the feed. You know what I mean? That's Googling them cutting the feed off my stuff because of the information that I share. So, you know what I mean? Fuck them. I don't go fuck. We're gonna keep going and rock this shit out. So you see the person now, the person is back in here, right? So the person came back in and they're in here now. So they're gonna be cutting the feed every time I try to go live, right? So I'm going to put it back on the big part of the screen share, and I'm going to go back to the article. And but I don't care because I already shared enough information just now within the article just to show and prove my point of what it is I'm saying. Right? One thing we can't forget: the Irish were brought to this country as slaves too. So many questions is who is ADOS really for? Huh? ADOS is an African shit. I'm not buying that American Indian nothing. Reparations in this territory of America, right, was being pushed as a Pan African thing, and Pan Africans were only advocating for this area of America, right? This territory that on the mainland of the northern part of America. So are the ADOS folks. The Pan Africans and the ADOS folks both advocate for the same people on the mainstream stage as the Boyce Watkins, the Yvette Cornells, and so on and so. They're a Pan African organization trying to come and create some form of confusion here. They first tried to come with the Pan Aborigine. When they came on my chat with that shit, I was like, get that shit out of here. I'm not trying to hear that shit. That Pan Aborigine shit out of here. All right? Don't even try it here. Then afterwards, they came out with the whole ADOS thing. Right? They're the same people. So for those who are newly recruited into it and think that they're not being played like puppets, that's on them. Right? I guarantee you when I go back to go show the article, they're gonna cut it again. Watch. He is descending in position and rapidly diminishing in numbers. This is evidence that the misguided philanthropy should have an end and give way to more practical views. It is demonstrated that the Indians will not imitate the white man. He will live in seeming friendship with him because he is a conquered enemy. That's just from the writer's point of view. None of that shit is not true. Majority of that shit is not true, right? And I'm gonna tell y'all why I say that later on. His fears and his necessities compel him. It wasn't that we were conquered. It was that we just had folks that sold us out, right? Folks that became indoctrinated into this structure of system and greed set in. Okay? It was that some tribes could not for the sake of survival get along. So it wasn't that these folks came and conquered you. It was united you stand, divided you fell. And you were divided. And some of you fell. But how far did you fall? Not very far. Because when you start, switch back here. When you start understanding the information, right, you're going to see that when they're talking about this territory is like, look at New York. New York is predominantly Negroid people. New York City, right? And you understand that New York City was once a huge forest, a huge tropical, almost tropical forest, right? Now, everywhere in the world, everywhere in the Americas that are predominantly Negroid people, they tend to have more strict laws and well, strict rules and more of a military mind to the people of how they administrate their foreign authority on the people. Okay, anywhere where it is diluted down of Negroid people, they don't do that. Now, when you go back in history, the lands that they talking about they had fully conquered were still predominantly of originally Americans, and the lands that they're the portions of lands that they're oppressing more so today are still predominantly American origines, Negroid people. Now, Growing up, they used to teach you about Brazil as if Brazil was a tropical island. Come to find out, Brazil is not an island. Brazil is right there, smack dab on the mainland of South America, and it's the sixth largest country in the entire Americas. Brazil, with the sixth most powerful economy in the entire Americas. Well, the sixth most wealthiest country in the entire Americas, Brazil. And Brazil is over 90% Negroid people. That means they never conquered Brazil. You know what it means to conquer people? When you diminish their numbers till it damn near don't exist, and your people is everywhere you go and see. Okay? Period. Now, I didn't know that they had a tribe called the Bronx tribe. I didn't know that. That I'd have to look into something like that. But this is when you know that the place, like now, when you go out into like Long Island and you're going into places like upstate New York, you're going to see what this document here is saying, that they removed you from the fertile lands and put you down into the lands that they killed. So they chopped down all the trees in New York and created a concrete jungle of nothing but concrete buildings. But when you're going into Long Island, when you're going up into upstate New York, those lands are fertile for farming. You have farmland all over Long Island, farmland all over upstate New York, clean river water, clean air all over when you go out into those areas. And when you go into those areas, you're seeing majority of the foreigners, the immigrants, because they mention immigrants in this document and they let you know that they are immigrants. In this document, they let you know that they're the immigrants and that they're opening the borders for more immigrants to come in, which is what you saw Obama doing with the Syrians, what you saw Bush doing, what you saw all the other presidents doing when they told, oh, we're letting in these refugees. They were letting in their people. And using the war as an excuse to about for safety reasons. But the fucking people in the Bahamas that got hit by Hurricane Dorian, that were supposed to be taken off the island before the hurricane hit, they were kicking them off the boats because they didn't have a U.S. passport and sending them back into the storm. If y'all don't believe me, that's on the footage of the video that I did about Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas. The news reporter himself was like, well, they're kicking people back off the boat because they don't have a U.S. visa, and sent them back out into the storm. Okay? When I saw that, when I heard that, I was done. Why? Because the Bahamas is predominantly Negroid people, Indians, whom they identify as West Indians. They want those lands, so they need you to die off. They need you to go back into the chaos, the destruction. If there's bodies, then the bodies are going to be rotting for days, weeks, probably months, for you to be out there to get diseases from those infections and die off too for the land. The storm never hit Nassau. And I said that. I said, watch the storm not hit Nassau. And it didn't hit Nassau. Every time a storm hit Haiti, it don't cause no damage to the Dominican Republic. Why is that? Because in that video I showed you that they're directing the storms. So they have an issue with this information that's being put out there. Well, it's public information. It's not a secret. It's public information. Right? Another thing that they're doing is every time I share a video, they try to hit me with a copyright right as I'm doing the video. That's targeting. Downright harassment. All right, so this evidence that the misguided philanthropy should have an end. and give way to more practical views, it is demonstrated that the Indians will not imitate the white man. He will live in seeming friendship with him because he is a no. You see, now they wanted to say that the reason why you're being friends is because you're conquered. No, remember when the pilgrims first came, which was the Spaniards, some of our people opened up, accepted them with open arms. When the Caucasians came because they claimed that they were running away from their tyrant king and queen, they were accepted with open arms, fed, taught how to hunt, taught how to bathe, taught how to create their medicine for when they're sick, taught how to taught what oils to rub on their skin to protect them from the sun. So this was before the wars broke out. So we weren't friends because of a conquered enemy, because we were supposedly conquered. We already had open arms, accepting these people to come and use here as a place of refuge. And they turned around and they backstab us. Plain and simple. His fears and his necessities compel him to this. His possessions have been taken from him. His spirit has been broken. But his hatred is undying for the race who inflicted his wrongs upon him, and burns all the fiercer because it is silent and suppressed. Like you, they suppress your word every day. You got to literally go fill out a permit. You got to go fill out a permit before I did turn down the volume to this phone. You got to go fill out a permit before you could go protest, and then you got to pay for that permit. And then when you pay for that permit to go protest, they got police trying to act like they're military, like they're paramilitary, with tanks, tear gas, all sorts of launchers, right? All sorts of launchers and sonar type of equipment coming at you, right? Like, it's crazy. Just to silence you. So you can't even protest in peace. Right? So this is why they have to put people within the group of the protesters to create a false act of violence. This, how many times you see undercover cops within the protesters throwing rocks at other cops so that the cops can get hostile and start beating the shit out of y'all. Right? Because if they don't do that, then you're not breaching the peace. Then they're the ones breaching the peace, and they're in wrong of these supposed treaties that's still there. Everything is strategic, y'all. If there are treaties there and they're not showing you the treaties, that's because the treaties give you more power than it does them. Because if in the treaties that there's a breach of, if you breach the peace, right? This is why they're saying also in this document, well, there was no act of violence, but just to not take it to violence, just have them move. Because that's breaching the peace. That's breaking the treaty. If you're protesting peacefully without violence and someone cause a violent act, then that's breaking the peace. Then it gives the officers an excuse to attack you. This is why they put on the covers and they put false flag actors amongst the group of y'all. How many times y'all seen protesters, especially in Ferguson, grab up folks that was trying to throw rocks at the police, and you hear the person be like, "Oh, I'm just an actor. I was paid to come out here and do this." And they caught it on camera. Like, this is this is no joke. No joke at all. Let's get back. All right, so we were. All right, he will live. He will live in seeming friendship with him because he's a conquered enemy. His fears and his necessities compel him to this. His possessions have been taken from him. His spirit has been broken, but his hatred is undying for the race wrongs, who inflicted wrongs upon him, and burns all the fiercer because it is silent and and oppressed. And the death. I think this is also coded because this every couple of sentences or probably every other paragraph, you're gonna find like one or two words misspelled, and it looks like it's coded. I'm gonna re-go back over this and see at another time, but some of these stuff seems coded. Anyway, and suppressed, and the death and extinction from which others would shield him are to him preferable to an existence to be eked out by assimilating with the destroyers of his race. Come on. Come on. This is what they're trying to they got you doing today, assimilating with the destroyers of his race. They killed you on paper. They killed your identity. They destroyed you on paper. This is how they destroyed our people, on paper. They wrote you out of your nationality. They wrote you out of your ancestry on paper and gave it to somebody else on paper. Then now got you going along with every other thing in the book: Pan-African, descendants of African, ADOS, Black American Indian descendants. To act towards this remnant of a once proud and now prostrate foe with the magnanimity is worthy of our government and people, but it is to misdirect nations, it is to misdirect their magnanimity to urge upon. See, again, see, this is supposed to be upon, it has end pawn. And pawn, these people, contrary to their wishes, insil inclinations, tastes, and fixed determinations, certain rules and theories for their adoption, and to mix up in all our necessary intercourse with them. Again, that when you're going to go move into what is considered a Caucasian neighborhood, a foreigner's neighborhood, a neighborhood occupied by foreigners, they have their foreign policyholders, right? Come and harass you all day. Okay, the immigrants within the community come and they harass you all day. But when you're in your community, especially the ghetto, like I remember, oh my goodness, I remember the first time I saw a Caucasian person walking their dog 2 o'clock in the morning in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I saw that, my jaw dropped because dude, this person, wait, what the hell is going on here? Only for like 2 years later, you just saw an entire trove of them coming down into the neighborhood. No one harassed them. No one harmed them. No one called the police on them. Nobody. They just, oh, all right, there you go. They're in the neighborhood now. But when you go into the neighborhoods occupied by the foreigners, they harass you. They call their foreign police forces on you. They do everything they can to get you up out of that neighborhood. But while they're coming in your neighborhood and assimilating, because this is how they get you to assimilate, they come to you because they taught you to be their friends. They taught you to look at them as harmless. They taught your children to look at them as they're your friends. Oh, they're your brothers through their movies, their TV shows, their cartoons. And you already know, like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, they're going to start raising the price to everything. When I saw that person walking their dog 2 a.m, that's what I said about about Bed-Stuy. I'm like, yeah, They're about to start raising the price of everything. They done. It's done over here. It's a wash. And it was a wash. Anyway, okay. To act towards this remnant of once of a once proud and now prostrate foe with magnanimity is worthy of our government and people, but it is misdirect. It is misdirect their magnanimity to urge upon the people, contrary to their wishes, inclinations, taste, and fixed determinations, certain rules and theories for their adoption, and to mix up in all our necessary intercourse with them our un, our unwelcome advice, which they have sworn never to follow. Let the government come advice, which was sworn never to follow. Let the government ease to torture these Indians with their good offices by forcing upon them a civilization which neither their nature nor prejudice will allow them to receive. So when you're like, why are they doing this to us? Why are they doing this to us? Why are they beating us like this? Why are they shooting us down? Because they want you to fully assimilate and just be a good subservient slave. One of those good old boys. Be one of the good old boys. Be a part of the good old boy club. But instinctively, there's something inside of you instinctively that lets you know, like, yo, this is just wrong. These people don't even like, these people aren't us. They don't have the best interest here for us. Like, they don't mean us no good. Like, and you could tell when they're faking. These people are just so fake. You just could tell instinctively. You know, there's a bigger picture here to what's going on. But this is the bigger picture. This is your side of the hemisphere. You are the original Americans, whom they're tricking to identify as African Americans, black and African Americans. All right. Pay them their annuities. It says a civilization which neither their nature nor prejudice will allow them to receive. Pay them their annuities honestly as they fall due, contribute to them, support when necessary, require them to observe peace and good order towards the white settlements, and leave them to enjoy their own habits and customs until time and a rapid and inevitable decay shall remove them from the path of that civilization they will not adopt. You hear that? So they were ready to wait for your demise, for time to pass and you just wither away culturally. And it has happened. I am I am digressing. However, but the thing is, you didn't take on the Caucasians' culture, you took on the Africans' culture. I am digressing. However, from the object of this communication, which is to advocate the speedy removal of the Indians from Nebraska. Let's scroll down. This is you. This is the Negroid people that they were removing from Nebraska. Removal of the Indians from Nebraska before the impatience of the white man drives him away. That's a threat. Regardless of Holmes' rights, treaties, or anything else than the law of power and progress. So they was ready to, if there was treaties, they were violating them just to get you off the land. The wave of immigration is now beating upon the eastern border of this territory, and it will soon gather a weight and impulse that the weak barriers of the intercourse law cause not could not withstand. Who are the immigrants? It surely wasn't you. As well for the good of the Indians as for the credit of the government is it desirable to see them removed upon fair and liberal terms, upon liberal terms before the barrier is broken down by the pressure from without. How is this to be effected? And is the government moving in a proper direction to secure this result? I fear not, although I have no doubt, but their intentions are for the best. There are certain courses of policy indicated as well by the Commissioner of Indian Affairs as by the Secretary of the Interior in their recent report. See, so the Commissioner of Indian Affairs, this is what really screwed y'all over. The Commissioner of Indian Affairs right there was working with the corporate government to get you up off the land. Okay, Commissioner of Indian Affairs as by the Secretary of the Interior and their recent reports, which is persisted in, may not result so happily as desired. That policy in diplomacy is believed to be best which is most just to all. And when advantages are offered to one party at the expense of another, he who is thus benefited necessarily loses confidence in such a negotiation, and especially does it hold good among savage and barbarous people. Again, this is how they had to mark you throughout history: savage, barbarians, barbarous. So you know when you see like shows like Conan the Barbarian, you know Conan is a Negro. That's one of, you know what I mean, our people, our ancestors, and they throwing the whole barbarian thing because they have to make you look like evil savages. You know what I'm saying? They have to make you look like savages so that the world will look at you in that light as a savage and has less empathy for you when they do their devious acts and deeds, their savage acts towards you. Okay? You see it in the news today. Well, Mike Brown stole some candy and Swisher cigars, so he deserved to have 21 shots, 16 in the back, and about like the other 5 in the front. Oh, he was a barbarian, a savage. Well, look how big. Look, what's his name? Look how big Eric Garner was. Well, he already had a record, and so he was already selling Lucy cigarettes now, and he want to comply with the officer, so he deserved to be choked to death. He deserved to be murdered for a single cigarette. See what I'm saying? That's why they always, even when the person is deceased, they always throw in the person's supposed criminal history. You know what I mean? They always throw out something negative out there about the person. Always. Barbarous people. That upright and honest dealing around the diplomatic board is surest to win. Now, the commissioner and secretary have declared in substance that the government in treating with the Indians will know nothing of any existing obligations, however just or honest, with which they may owe to whomsoever it may be, either within the states or on the border, in the face of. Now the states that they're speaking of could mean um the physical body, the people, right? The people on the whole, okay, of you, the people on the whole, or the territory of which they're trying to mark as a state, or on the border, the that they, whomsoever it may be, either within the states or on the border, that they will treat with the Indians alone, but out their whole estates in. See, this is when they started taking over your estate. You see what I'm saying? So they're letting it be known. They're showing you here, but they're showing you on what terms. Also, they were supposed to also operate when they became, when this is when they became administrators to your estate. So they're letting it be known that it's your estate, but now they're taking it over as administrator, right? Which you didn't even give that up to them anyway. But here, Indians alone, but out their whole estate in the face of honest creditors, and then remove them beyond the reach of their creditors. And so, okay, all right, and will not even at the Indians' request recognize any demand against them to be paid out of the only estate they have, to wit. Now, their lands upon the credits of which, or at least their usufruct honest debts, have been contracted. So, Pete, we can stop it right there. I'm gonna give y'all the name of it because I don't think it's gonna come up if y'all click this link. It might not come up. I'm gonna try to give you. I'm gonna drop the link, but if it don't come up, I'll just give y'all the name. Like I said, man, everything for you is paid for because everything for you is already paid off for. If you get a house, it's already paid off for. Mortgage every month, it's already paid off for. Taxes, you're not supposed to be getting taxed. You ain't supposed to be paying mortgages, none of that shit. The land is your inheritance. It's your estate. What these people did was forced you to contract with them so that they put you in a debtor's position. But this is here saying that you're not even in a debtor's position, but these folks here have become creditors of your property, of your estate, in which, this is why I keep telling y'all, forget the census, forget this thing that you're talking about suing for money that you're not going to get the way how you're going about it. You're supposed to go back and put back on the public record and make yourself back the creditor for your estate. They have you operating right now today as a debtor, meaning that a debtor have debts that they have to pay back. Meaning that if you go and think that you got a house, you got to pay a mortgage. You got to go down to the dealership to go get a car, and you're paying that monthly bill. You have to pay that monthly bill. When the dealership is taking that MCO, that manufacturer certificate of origin, and trading it on the stock market, and then got paid off for already for the car. So you're paying double. They're double dipping. Okay, but all their businesses is operating on your estates. The land is yours, so you're the creditor and they're the debtors. They switch roles with you and got you paying them taxes for your own fucking land. Excuse my language. This document is saying that this is their document. This, you didn't write this, they wrote this. This document is saying that. So they got you to stop identifying with your proper nationality. You're going to have folks come, you're Moors, you're not Moors. Well, I'm not a Moor. I can't tell you what you're not. I'm not a Moor. And when that peace and treaty, that Moroccan treaty of peace and friendship doesn't mark the folks of the Americas as Moors. It marks the Moors as being a part of Morocco over there in Africa. So I don't care which Moor do nationality paperwork. Once they tell you or try to have you put on your paperwork that you're a Moor, they're tricking you out of your nationality if you are an original American. That's why you got to read the Moroccan Treaty of Peace and Friendship and see what it's really saying. It tells you straight up front in bold, the Moors are to get you to sign up to be subjects of Morocco. Just like how this right here is telling you that they got you to contract with them to put you in a debtor's position and them the creditor of your own goddamn land. So now you have to go back through the public record to make yourself back the creditor, the executor, the grantor, the settler, the administrator. Okay? Now, because they have been put as creditor of your land, the trustees of the trust, who's supposed to secure and protect the trust, are the policyholders, whom you call police, judges, lawyers, county clerks, governors, mayors, Congress, Senate, these people. But if you put yourself back as creditor, these people work for you. All they did was switch places with you on your own goddamn land and still got you identifying outside of self so that they could claim more eminent domain. Because the more you identify as something that you're not, that's something that is foreign to this hemisphere, then they can come in and claim eminent domain on your shit. And all they do is they have these Pan-Africans going all over the world, all over the Americas, South America, North America, Central America, the islands, trying to convince these folks on these islands, on these places, that they are African, so that their foreign entities can come in and claim eminent domain and take these people lands. That's wickedness. That is some sinister shit. This document, did I put it in the chat? Let me see if I put it in. Here you go. Here, guys. I don't know if it's going to come up. If it don't come up, I'll give you the name of it. Right. I'll give you guys the name of it, and you just go on whatchamacallit, on archive.org, and you can find the document, or you could Google it, find the document. You could go on the national the Library of Congress, and you'll find the document. Right. If the screen is blurred for you, it's only doing that on the laptops. But if you're on like a mobile device, like I'm on my phone, it's clear. It's very clear. Well, I'm watching the feedback on my mobile phone and it's showing clear. All right, so the link isn't coming up right here, is it? No. See, they're trying to blur the screen, but again, that's why I'm going to give you all the name if the link don't come. It's called the Nebraska Indian Treaties of, let's scroll up. And that was like a page and a half in. That wasn't even a full 2 pages of all the shit that they just said that they did and how they stole the land. It's called the Nebraska Indian Treaties and the Rights of Citizens. All right. So let me type it in for y'all. Treaties and the rights of citizens. Okay, there you go. So it should be in the chat now. All right. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can get the link here. Hold on there. Hold on there. What is this? I don't even know what that is. I'll click on that. It's, Oh, here we go right here. Let's see if it comes up. Why is this low? Let's see. Here we go. Okay, this is it here. Yeah. All right, so here's the link. I got the link. Copy. Okay. There goes the link. That's the link right there. Right. So that's what it's called. So pretty much, they admit it. They use threat. They use threat of violence to steal your land. Then after they did that, they tricked you. They try to get you to contract with them to make them the creditors for your land. But majority of the Indians said, F you, no. This is why, like, when you go into like places like Chicago and these places, you're going to realize that, oh shit, some of these homes have been in the family for generations because your ancestors actually owned that entire land, that parcel of land. That you're not even supposed to be paying taxes on those lands today. I mean, in my opinion, to how this documentation is showing, I'm of the notion that until this till this day, you are not to be paying any form of taxes on this land because this is why it was. Well, when y'all read it, y'all gonna see what it's really also inclining for making them creditors, right, of the land, right? So as long as you kept your nationality, you're not supposed to be paying none of these things. Right now you're outside of your nationality. You contracted with them that put you underneath their jurisdiction. So now you pay mortgage, you pay taxes, all these things. These things that they're supposed to be paying to you because in actuality, you're the creditor. You're the creditor. But they switch places to make you the debtor. Okay? All right, so did y'all get the searching for board? All right, so I don't know if y'all clicked on the link, but let me know if the link. Well, I'll click on the link and see if it's working on this end right here. So I could do that over here. Close out these here. Click on the link here. See if it comes up. All right, so the link works. All right, link works. I'll put the link down again for y'all. All right, and I think I'm gonna put the link in the top of the comment section. This is the comment section. So there's a link here in the comment section here. So if folks go down into the comment section, you'll see the link. I'm going to add also my D Live link to the comment section. I'm going to add my D Live link to this, which are these here, my D Live, my Discord, my Teespring, everything onto the link right here. All right. But now I pinned it in there. So if y'all come down here and you guys don't see it here, that means they put it as spam in a spam folder and they're blocking you from seeing it. All right. If y'all come on my video and y'all don't see this here, that means you're blocking you from seeing it. Okay. All right, cool, cool. So yeah, y'all, you know what I mean? It's like, look, you have to take your time and read these documents and go over them over and over, right? This is my fourth time reading this document, and I done spot some other things in there also as well that I'm going to go research and come back to. Okay, but it's a couple things that I spotted in this document. You see what I'm saying? So you'll see that they didn't hide it. They told you exactly what they were doing. They came with a bully tactic. They came with a intimidation tactic. They came with their, well, if we could at least get a few of them to side with us, and that's what they did. They got a few to side with them, and they started the few that knew the makeup of the land. They knew how to divide you up the minority can conquer the majority, and that's what happened. It's like when you have 2,000 herds of 2,000 cattle, and you got your little your cattle dog, one or two cattle dog, and like five cowboys herding 2,000 cattle. They conquered those cattle to move how they wanted them to move. The minority. It's mathematics. It's simple science. Okay. So when people be like, "Well, if we're the majority, how come?" That's how come. Get into the minds of the people, and you can move mountains. Get into the minds of a few of the people that knows the ones that you're really trying to get to, and you could change the entire dynamic of the way how they flow, like the natural flow of a river. This is it. The evidence is here. They did the sleight of hand and got you looking on the other side of the world for yourself, and yourself is right here. Right here. Now I understand why some of these folks will get all testy and get in their feelings. Maybe their mama married an African dude, and they're the child of an African and a original American. So they want to buy more into the slave part of the story that their African sides came over here in the millions as slaves. Right? I don't know why this is loading. So they kicked me out my VPNs again. All right. Uh, well, the VPNs that I got, I guess they ain't shit. But they kicked me out my VPNs again, which shows why they were tampering with the feed. Okay, this is why they were tampering with the feed. So yeah, I just peeped it. Like the computer would show certain glitches. See, it's showing that my VPN is not even on. Have my VPN locked. When my VPN was locked, my internet signal was at full blast, full. Now that it kicked off the VPN, it went down a bar. Anyway, and the only people that have control, that's I said, like, yo, there's other browsers out there other than Google. I'm gonna start pushing for that people stop using. Well, my opinion, Google is no good no more. Stop using it. Find other browsers to use, and you know, a good amount of people switch over to other browsers and get them to start upgrading their shit. They'll be way better than Google. There's other browsers that actually respect, that don't really go into your stuff and cut off your stuff or hack your VPN and stuff like that, right? Google don't supply a VPN. The other browsers that I'm talking about, they supply VPNs and everything when you're using them. Okay, but if you're using Google as the main base to run through some of those other VPNs, then Google has access to your shit. So if you have a password on your stuff, they have your password. So they know how to go past your password and get into your VPN. So they hack your stuff. That's what it is. Whether they have a switch that they cut off or not, they hack through your stuff. Once they're messing with your platform and your stuff, that's hacking. That's a terroristic offense. So they're terrorists that works for Google. Period. That's the only way this is happening. Sly, I have Georgia as Sly. Who's Corey? But yeah, so again, I encourage folks, man, just read through these documents carefully. You see what I'm saying? Do your due diligence to do your research properly. When you're reading through these documents, make sure you have a law dictionary. Make sure you have your etymology dictionary, and make sure you have a few dictionaries. Your 1856 Bouvier, your Black's Law dictionaries, which are the law dictionaries. Make sure you have your etymology dictionaries. Make sure you have these things. You see what I'm saying? And and see words in there in these documents that you don't get. You look them up, right? You look them up. Okay. But yeah, so again, everyone, if you're not, if you are not following me on D Live, I am on D Live now. So the document that I just shared was something that I shared on the D Live before. I don't know why this stuff is loading. That means they tampered with my stuff. They probably logged me out. Let's see. Yeah, they're tampering with this shit. How's it moving like this? I don't know if you guys can hear me, but if you guys can hear me, press one. If you guys can hear me, 'cause I don't get what's going on with my I see like my screen is consistently loading. All right, cool, cool, cool. Okay, okay, all right. Because I'm like, it's just acting weird, 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 weird. So I bet they thought I was going to show a video because what they're doing is they're targeting like the monetization for the video. So I don't remember if y'all remember like year before last, where every time I put up a video, they'll flag it for copyright and then unmonetize it, flag it, copyright. Even when I showed y'all, even before the video even uploads, I was showing y'all like, look, it's say that it's processing. It's not even uploaded yet. Look at this. So the person they watch it in real time, and they flag it at the same time, and then say, oh, so and so had a copyright, but they didn't. None of that is true because I never received one strike because they lied. So yeah. But anyway, y'all. So what I'm saying is this: make sure that y'all have your Bouvier's, your Black's Law Dictionary when y'all doing your research. Okay. And the further back you can go, the oldest the etymology dictionary, the better. The oldest the dictionary, period, the better. Also, as well, right? But your 1856 Bouvier is a great dictionary to have. All right. I also came across some other law dictionaries that I'm going to be sharing on the D Live, probably within this week or next week. I got to vet them some more to see to make sure. But there's already one that I'm really liking, and yeah, okay. And then we're still going to do the probate court live on the D live also, right? We're going to do finish that one because they kept cutting the stream when I was doing that one, and it was cutting the stream through the StreamYard. They wasn't doing it through the D Live. They was doing it through StreamYard. But like I said, I got another streaming app, and I got a plan, so it will definitely work. But I'm not going to say what it is that I'm going to do, but it's going to work. But I got to take some time to learn the app, and then I'll merge my stuff with it with the app. All right. But otherwise, from that, man, yeah, just do y'all due diligence. Yeah, research. Okay. And again, here's the link to the D Live. For those who aren't following in D Live, all you do is hit the link to the D Live here. When you hit the link to the D Live, come over here. It's going to ask you to sign up. If you're not following, just sign up. And all right. Okay. So we're back on. we're back on. Okay. So like I said, this is Google doing this. This is Google because only they have Google and YouTube. Only they have access to this level to where they can interrupt with someone's platform. And again, because they can't get into D Live is not their shit, so they can't mess with D Live. So when I promote the D Live, they cut the screen. You see what I'm saying? So again, fuck that. I'll just put the link to the D Live in the chat. So here's the link to the D Live. This is why I'm trying to get everyone to switch. Like everyone just stop. I don't want. I just want everyone to switch over to the D Live and just screw Google, YouTube, right, and Google, because at the end of the day, when more people start going independent on other platforms that don't discriminate against their content, you know what I mean? That believes in their freedom of speech and don't get into their feelings about information that's being shared. Because hey, you got the pro-white people sharing their information, you have the liberals sharing their information, you got Republicans and Democrats sharing everyone shares their information. But you know the thing is, you are the only set of people that that they're trying to train to get along with everybody else. But everybody else are not trying to be. It's not being trained to get along with you. But anyway, like I said though, this is the link here, the D Live link. Click on the D Live link, right? Because see, their YouTube D Live is their competition, so they're threatened by it. But I don't see them cutting PewDiePie shit when PewDiePie is on his YouTube channel promoting the shit out of D Live, right? So this is the link. You come over, you click on the link, it's going to take you over to D Live. Once again, it's going to take you over to D All right, so they did it again. I'm coming. All right, hold on. They did it again, right? So every time I go to share the D Live and show you the D Live screen, they cut the thing. So I'm gonna take this part. Every time I do it, I'm gonna do it again just to show that that's what they're doing, right? Because again, I'm gonna sue the fuck out of y'all, right? So they did it again. So what I'm going to do, I'm also going to put this clip, this part of the clip, up on my D Live account just to show folks what YouTube is doing. So we still have other avenues. It's good to have other venue, another avenue to share the fuckery and the censorship, that the harassment that these folks do to people who pull in revenues on their platform, right? So this is how they eat. This is how you go home. They go home. They get a paycheck. It's because we have our channels on this platform, which is a public platform, which is not supposed to be censored. Here is a D Live again. This is fun. Okay. All right. So you sign up and you come over and you follow right here on the D Live. Right. Also, let me see one more thing. Let's see. Okay. One more thing. Why is this like this? Why this always says loading? All right. 1 second, y'all. I gotta scroll. So when you come down to where it says for the subscribers here, you're going to see this is what they call the description box down here, right? So when you come down here, they're trying to blur the screen. Oh, well. When you come down here, right? Let me show you. So when you come down here, you're going to see the D Live link. You're going to see the Discord link, right? Click on the Discord, join the Discord. In the Discord, there's tons of information that's shared within the Discord. Okay, so when you join the Discord community that I created, okay, um, and if you're looking for a new T-shirt, a new hoodie, something for your child, also, this is the Teespring store here. You know, click on the link to the Teespring store. But I'm gonna put all of that at the top of the comment section. All right, I'm gonna put all of that right here with the link to the article, to the document that I was reading, right? So I'm going to add it all right here, and it's already pinned into the top of the comment section, as you can see. So if it's ever put towards spam, then that is Google doing it. Google is YouTube. That's Alphabet, the Alphabet company that's censoring the platform. All right. And it's crazy because, again, like I said, it's someone that pointed it out to me today, and like I said, that was someone that I was talking to on that works for YouTube, that said they'll pass it along to their tech team, and they said that my stuff is being my code was rewritten from the other platform, and that this it's they wasn't trying to fully say it, but it's an inside job. All right, so yeah, put that the link to the D Live. There we go. So y'all click the link to the D Live. Just hit sign up. If you are not following, then when you sign up, then you follow us on D Live, right? As you can see, you see them messing with the graphics. I put it on 720, they turn it down. The same little games, the same little games. But all they do is just make me even more popular. So it just shows me how powerful as small as its platform is, how powerful it is, right? So yeah, and again, just sign up for the this follow us on Discord also as well, because like I said, the folks on Discord, they share tons of information with each other, and it's right there in the Discord, right? And if you could support the Teespring store, there it goes right there also. And we're out of here. So I say, peace, love, light, safe travels to you if you're on the road. Safe travels to you. Um, just stay safe, stay in good health, positive energy to you, your loved ones, and everything positive around you. And you know what I mean? Just enjoy the rest of your day, night, afternoon, evening, depending on whatever time zone it is that you are in. And if you did hit that like button, just recheck again to see if you did hit that like button and click it again. Because sometimes you click it and they click and they will uncheck it. You know. So yeah, I say peace to you guys. Enjoy.